I just need every single thing we can get.
I hear you.
But that being said, if I got to sleep in tomorrow and maybe hop on the trainer for a few hours, I guess I'd be okay with that.
Pissed about it, yeah. I'm gonna walk over there, make sure, because it says one of our cameras is at 21%.
Uh-oh.
I see a little bit of a USB hanging.
Oh, it's this one. Because I left it unplugged for a while there, and it's plugged in now.
Oh yeah, it says it's charging.
Yeah.
That's what the little lightning bolt means.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, just don't touch that. You might get shot.
Yeah. Well, I can't take away all my lines from later in the show. So before we begin, sponsor mentions and an in-house plug. Packfiller Online Store is that plug. Your place for some fun and ever-expanding Packfiller pride. Hats and caps. There's a difference. Mugs, shirts, stickers, jerseys. We are running low on jerseys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jerseys of varying sizes. I am out of mediums at this point in time. These are special runs here. So special runs. Take a look at packfiller.com and show off your love of bikes. Untapped maple, you guys. Pure Vermont maple syrup is the core and clean energy is the result. If you haven't tried it, you are missing out. Easy to digest and great flavor options to replace that muck you've been ingesting on your rides. Untapped is back with us for 2024, and we are super happy to have them on board again, fueling our rides. Speaking of back with us, Scratch Labs never left. Another great group and product back with us for 2024. Paul already has pineapple on the order list, and I just ran out of recovery. So it's time to mention that Scratch has it all for the season, both indoor and outdoor. You know how much you sweat on the trainer. Well, that's what needs to be replaced. And Scratch is the best, cleanest, greatest tasting way to do just that. I don't know why I reread that sentence. I had it right the first time. You notice I took out the horns in the opening of the intro.
Mm-hmm.
You know, splicing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Well, if you hear some whirring in the background, it's not a technical problem other than the fact that it's super cold here and the studio heat can't keep up, but at least the beer is properly chilled. Oh, and tonight we're supposed to be getting a foot of snow. You're clapping?
Okay, I'm clapping because I just don't, I love my job. I don't want everybody out there thinking,
yeah. I understand that. I do understand that. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, cool. A day off would be nice. But then every day you miss. Yeah, every day you miss, it's just the snowball gets bigger. That being said, I'd like to sleep in. Anyway, welcome to the longest running cycling podcast out there. This is the Packfiller Podcast. I'm Pat Bulger. We are live as usual on our YouTube channel as well as packfiller.com. Spoiler alert, Sam is not here as he is on his way back from Arizona, which means two things. First, he sucks because he was in Arizona while we all have been freezing to death. And second, the interruptions on tonight's show will be cut in half.
And he's going to like that.
And David's not here either because he didn't call. He didn't text. He totally ghosted us. Yeah, so hopefully he's not in the ditch somewhere. But as per tradition, a proper show like a stage race starts with a prologue. For tonight's prologue question, we have a potentially dangerous one. Ooh. How do you prepare your perfect cup of coffee? I'm glad David's not here for this because I know it would be a 3-hour show just to be talking about you guys just talking about spritzing the beans with water or something like that beforehand?
Well, the trend right now is not as dark.
Yeah.
Roast, because you used to roast back in the day, and now the trend is lighter roast, so you get different flavors and different. So it's first crack stuff. So that's gourmet now. That's that's what everybody's targeting. Wow. The days of second crack.
Second crack is perfect.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't like that, considered smoky burnt taste comes at that point.
Kind of sounds like how I care for my plants.
Yeah.
Spritzing it before.
Spritzing.
So anyway, getting back to that first cracks, so the holes will actually get caught up in the grinder and stuff. So if you spritz it, then that moisture kind of keeps it from flying all over. So,
okay. Okay. Well, since you've already heard his voice, he's our in-house retro grouch, but in a good way, Mr. Paul Main. And I think we should probably start straying away from calling you a grouch. You you're just true to yourself and true to what you believe, and if people don't like them, they can get off your fucking lawn.
That's right.
Sorry,
I got a garden hose.
Yeah.
How are you, man? Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You don't have to shovel a walk tonight.
Nope.
And I'm really jealous about that.
Don't have to shovel a walk.
Shit.
We won't lose power if it gets to that. Because we're in downtown.
You're in the grid.
Mm-hmm.
Crap.
It was underground.
How's your perfect cup of coffee prepared?
I do French press, and I did an amalgamy of different. I started doing research on YouTube, and I came up with kind of a blend of things. And so on my French press, I weigh out. I don't use probably as much.
This is serious.
Yeah, I do
weighing it out.
But I've got it figured out on my scoops.
Okay.
So I'm not that.
You're
anal,
close.
But I wanted to get started, and I kind of tapered back what was suggested. So now I know how many scoops in my grinder, and then what type of grind. It doesn't even change anymore. But when I get the water right before boil, you can hear it just start slowing down before it starts boiling. That's the perfect temperature. I pour in the water just so it blooms.
Yeah.
The coffee blooms, and I wait for about a minute, and then I pour the rest in and let it steep for 4 minutes.
Wow. That's too long. I can't let it steep that long. I get too impatient. Yeah. How many ounces in a pot for your French press?
For ours, we have 1.5 liters. Okay. It's the biggest
that's
fresh
good
press.
amount. Yeah, that's a good amount.
I get one out of that. The rest go to my wife.
You do?
I'm serious.
Wow.
I was going to say next he's our in-house hipster, but in a good way, Mr. David Waples.
Super happy I'm not that anymore.
Yeah, no, you got the beard stash going.
Yeah. Thank you.
Third, he's our in-house non-beer drinker, but in a good way. Is that because you're drinking the cider, One Tree?
Yeah, well, I do prefer it. Yeah, it's just not as heavy on my sensitive little belly,
Your little tum-tum?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's your coffee? You're still kind of loose about this. You're not so worried about it.
Yeah, I'm not as... Yeah, well, I think loose is a good way to describe it. I do, however, for my wedding, my wife and I, for my lovely grandmother, she got us a, is it Breville or Breville?
I think it's Breville. I don't know.
One of the two.
Yeah.
She got us one of those espresso machines.
Great machines.
Yeah. And so I like to just do pretty much like a vanilla latte.
Oh, okay.
It's, nothing special.
Okay.
Kind of just is what it is.
And the great thing about that machine is it's got an in-machine grinder and dispensers, and then you just got to get the right amount and tamp it out, and then you're ready to rock. And you can adjust the grind as you're going.
Right.
Because so many people don't do that. They just think, oh, I got it. We're good. And their shots come out looking like watery tea.
Well, and that's the tough part, too, is getting the perfect consistency that it comes out in, because I'm still trying to figure that out. I have to come over to your house one of these days and look at what you have.
Much? Yeah,
because mine's, with it being newer and everything, it's just weird. So that's the only challenging part.
If David is here, he probably same thing.
His head is exploding right now.
You check. You always do your first. You just burn one.
Yeah,
and you time if it's going too slow, then you need to adjust the grind to a little not as fine.
Yeah,
and then you kind of play with it, and humidity can play a big part of that.
Huge. Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah.
My first time when I was a barista, I was sitting there going, gosh, here comes the storm. And I had it dialed in. I went to pour this lady a drink, and it just barely coming out.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I had to burn 3 or 4 shots before.
And that's the sign of a good coffee place, instead of some of the stuff you see where they just no matter what, they just pour it in it. If you, heaven forbid, you can see what's coming out of the machine, and it's just flying out of there. You're just going, oh God, please don't serve me this. And then they reach over and 5 pumps of chocolate into it or something like that. You're just going,
right,
this is diabetes in a glass. It's just terrible shit too. I'm our in-house. Well, we're in my house, but in a good way. I'm Pat Bulger, and I it's funny because I spent so many years in the coffee business as a barista, as a roaster. I was a roaster for about 9 years total. And a lot of the stuff I learned was by feel. I don't weigh my coffee. I don't to worry about the temperatures per se about stuff like that. But what I'll do, kind of like you, is that, I'll grind my shots on the Breville in the morning and pop them in. I tamp according to just kind of how I feel. I feel how easily the coffee's being pressed down or not, and I put it in there. And if it looks good coming out, I'm satisfied. The shots usually taste good. I want a good amount of crema on there and things like that. I like a little bit darker, not full city, not really dark, oily roast or anything like that. But I like, a medium roast. And then I just I'm an Americano guy. I just pour water right on top of it, hot water off of a kettle I have right to the side. I heat that to about 200 degrees. So I go pretty warm. And then just, that's it. No cream, no nothing like that. But if I'm at a proper place, we'll get, if I'm going to have a latte, it can't be bigger than an 8 ounce. Because, I get people at coffee shops looking at me going, I guess a double short latte, non-fat. And they're like, short? And they show me the cup.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. And they look at me like I'm on.
That's when you know that you don't want to drink their coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
That's 2 shots of espresso.
Espresso, yeah. And it's not gonna be good. But there are the quality is getting higher. Somebody must be texting all of us. So
yeah.
Oh, David, sorry I didn't reply, guys. It was a crazy day. In-laws are at home. Not gonna make it.
10 minutes
I just
late.
mentioned that on the show that David's upset because his in-laws are there, or is he happy because
wait until he listens to the show and we're talking coffee and he's not here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, never going to talk about that again.
Yeah.
Who's been training this week? How's it been going? Jackson's happy.
Yeah, no, it's been going really well. I think I took one day off since we last met.
Wow.
I know, yeah. I rode 3 times. I did weights on the off days, and then I did weights on the days that I also rode. So it's
how long are your weight workouts?
I have been I've been doing them with my wife quite a bit, and
cool.
I've been telling her that I always feel like 30 minutes, like that's a sweet spot for me for like a weight workout, because I have a full body. Like I start at the legs and finish with my shoulders.
Yeah.
And so it like doesn't take long, 45 minutes to maybe an hour if I'm doing 5 reps of each. But most of the time I'm doing 3 reps of each. And
3
then
sets or
3
reps?
sets, excuse me.
Yeah,
3 sets, and then just finishing it 30 to 45 minutes. So yeah, I get a lot done.
You can, and I remember my athletic club days where I would be going in, and usually it would be at least an hour because you got some dipshit, who's hogging the machine or taking up this area or something like that, and that always took forever. But if you're at home and some resistance bands and a couple kettlebells, you can get it done really fast.
Yeah.
So, Paul, how's it been? How's the health?
Health's pretty good. I still have a little bit in my lungs, but that's just, it hasn't slowed me down. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
So I got on Arrivee Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and yesterday.
Shit.
And I have to say that is one of the toughest workout. I mean, have you done? I think it's La Diane. It is the Liège Bastogne Liège.
Oh, isn't it Doyenne?
Doyenne. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
have you done that?
No.
You don't even. You have to warm up. And anybody wants to try this, most of their courses, you better be warmed up because it's not long before. Like I just do the Spring Classic stuff.
Yeah.
You are hitting a hill, and it is a grind.
Yeah.
And I don't, like you mentioned last show, that going up Zwift is a different feel than this. This is,
it's the set. As I said earlier, you can't adjust, to a lesser than reality. And I think I'm at 90% right now, and 100% is
that's where I'm at.
Holy crap, these are hard.
And it puts things in perspective because Liège Bastogne Liège was like the first videotape. 91 is the first one I saw, and I actually in this thing went up La Redoute, and it is a beast.
Yeah,
and it is nasty. I mean, halfway up is like a 2-kilometer climb, and you're at 17% gradient. It's like doing 2 white roads back to back.
Yeah.
And I thought I can't make it. When I got off, I finally finished it. When I got off, so my zones, so they go up to 7 zones. 63% of my efforts were 5, 6, and 7.
Oh my God!
That's how tough it is, and my heart rate was just like pegged.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
If you're going to do indoor, and I was sitting there thinking about it. It's different than chasing a line because you're doing a line, you do like a 1 minute effort, and all these are helping. They could probably prove it probably better than what I'm doing, but I'm thinking, then you have like a maybe 30-second break.
Yeah.
Here you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You're climbing your max, you turn around the corner and you got another 5% and you get a little bit of a break and there's another one. That's what bike racing's all about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway,
I thought I was gonna brag. I got 4 rides in and 2 strength training workouts. And I was like, yeah, I'm kicking ass. And now Jackson's like, I only took 1 day off. I'm like, son of a dang it. And my workday squats, I'm doing that challenge still. I only do it when I'm at work, and so I'm waiting for a student to come into my office while I'm going, up and down, bouncing up and down. But I'm up to 300 per the day now, and I'll do them. And
that should be good for your sprint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Today,
Seriously.
like I did a set 150, and then I rested for about 20 minutes, and then I did another set 150, and just throughout the day. So, and that's what I'm like, I got to get that stuff going. And I just finished on the bike, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I'm ready to watch that movie. And I love listening to books on the trainer. It is just, this is the time of year when I just, it's such a great way to pass by. Do you guys do anything like that? What do you guys listen to when you're on the bike? Or do you watch? Are you movies? Are you music? Are you?
I'm strictly music. I have like a certain playlist that I have. So, and it serves many purposes. It's my workout playlist. It's my before race playlist. It's all that. Yeah.
You listen to fairly, at least when I'm around you, like mid to lower tempo music. You're not like hard.
Yeah, no. See, it's also funny because it's very different generationally.
Yeah.
So you guys, I feel like listen to more like, what would you say? Like more rock-ish type of music.
Yeah.
I'm more like kind of hip hop. Like,
okay.
Yeah. I've really been into that a lot lately. And so that's kind of the path I go down when it comes to this. Yeah.
Okay. Paul, how do you make it through training?
Music also.
Really?
More electronic, not techno, kind of a step down a little bit from that. Artists like Solarfield, they're just kind of, they're a little more downbeat, not as much, not like, I don't know if you've seen any of the Remco. He's got like 4. Have you seen? He's into hardcore techno.
He is.
Is he really?
Oh yeah. He's in the car going.
Yeah, he loves it. He does.
Yeah. Can't handle that. That's just a little bit too much.
Yeah. See, I'm still guitar, bass, drum, kind of a rock, power pop rock, and punk rock and stuff like that. So that's just
But I only listen to that during workouts. I don't listen through the day.
Really?
That's the only thing I listen. I mean, through the day it's jazz and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but. That's my workout music.
Are you guys all intervals, or is anybody back into their Zone 2 rides are back? I guess that's the fad again. Riding in Zone 2. Are you guys just all intervals?
I right now, yeah, I'm 100% interval training. Yeah. And it ranges from sprint effort days to that 5-minute power day. But I save my, like, I guess, Zone 2 or base training. That's for like when we're all able to ride together, you know.
Really?
When it's actually I'm able to go for a long time. Like, I don't want to sit on my bike for more than really 45 minutes right now.
Yeah.
Because one hurts, and 2, I just I get antsy. I want to do something else. That's why I do 30 minutes on the bike and 30 minutes off the bikes. It just keeps me engaged, and it also doesn't physically make I'm going to be honest here, make the grundle cry a little bit. You know, like, that's the worst part of it.
Yeah. I because I want to do some of the longer events, but I also want to do the short and fast ones. I am a believer in some Zone 2 stuff. Like, for example, I did like 3 days in a row of riding this week, and on the last day I was like, I'm just going to hop on. I didn't do Zone 2 because I got too excited. I was there. I was on Arrivee, and there were people up the road, and so I just kind of, I can't remember. God, I wish I could remember what it was. I just picked one.
Tons of.
They're everywhere. Yeah, there's some places. Oh, it was in the Netherlands.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. It was Amsterdam.
Yeah, the Amsterdam.
Yeah, it was like 300 feet of elevation.
Yeah.
The whole way, and I just was like, there's some guy up the road. I gotta go get him. I gotta go see if I can get him. And just kind of ended up going faster. And the book got exciting, so I started riding faster. But and I am doing some of the dot watch, the
line
chasing
following.
lines on that app though. Andy Schleck has a plan that I just thought I'd jump on and do, and they're hard. I mean, they're, the first couple ones were sprint based, and then this one was more of a, a little bit more of a sweet spot over under kind of things like that. And those just kick the shit out of me. And obviously, it's stuff I need to work on. So I just hate it. Intervals are a necessary evil. Yeah. I think.
I will say one ride that is great on Wahoo system if you're a user of that. Phil Guyman did one, I think like a year or two ago, where he takes you on a KOM training, and I did that, and it's like a stair step, and so it's a really good one. You talking about that just made me think of it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just for somebody who like me who doesn't have the best 5-minute power. That's perfect.
You guys are both, correct me if I'm wrong, not necessarily living with a permanent training space. Are you guys set up, tear down? Jackson, I remember you had a spare bedroom, but now it's a spare bedroom.
Well, yeah, I noticed that my motivation dipped when it's always there for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's too easy to look at it and say, no, I'll come back later. But when you got to set it up, you got to commit to the whole thing. For some reason, I don't know why that really gets me motivated and everything. But yeah, mine is just a setup, tear down, and then I tear down immediately now and transition to the other thing. So it's a whole deal.
Wow. Yeah. And you kind of do the same thing. Really?
We're limited space
right.
in our living. But, I've actually I started upstairs in the bedroom. That didn't work out because anybody below me, which is where the living room area is, it's kind of a loft. You can hear, well, it's pretty quiet. I mean, the core's pretty quiet.
The vibration.
Yeah, and then, when you shift, that's where it goes through the boards. And no one's underneath this, so then I moved down so that Renee can go up there. We kind of have a mezzanine area where she can knit, and she didn't have to see me grunt and swear. I do a lot of swearing on that. Fuck! Every time it just goes up. So, anyway, and so now I finally found a permanent location. I've tried different locations where to put things, and now everything's so easy to grab.
Really?
Yeah.
So you guys take the bike off the trainer when you're done?
Yeah. Yep.
Really?
Completely.
Wow.
Torque it, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I walk by our workout room is to get there. I mean, you have to walk through it to get upstairs to go to bed. So I'm constantly walking by it, going, okay, I see you, I understand. Yes, fine, I'll do it. Okay, stop looking at me. And so I'll do that, and that really helps me in terms of that motivation. Seeing it there, kind of like the studio. I need a place where I can come down, turn on the lights, and start.
Right.
I can't set up and tear down. I'm not that kind of person. It's funny hearing you guys talking about if I didn't have it set up already, I'd be like, I don't want to hook up the bike. I'm not going to bother. Screw it.
It's funny you mentioned that because when we lived in our house, I had a place where I could set it up.
Yeah.
But I put it. I didn't like it there because it was also my bike shop. I didn't have tons of room.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those places like you see it and it's like, I need to get on it. And my bike room was pretty bare, and so I would drag my trainer into where our TV room was down in the basement that we remodeled, and it's like perfect conditions, and sunlight and everything. It's south facing. It's like it was so much easier to get, and I didn't mind that. Like you said, you're getting ready. I have music on while I'm setting things up.
Yeah,
and boom. But just to sit there and look at it, it's like.
Yeah, depressing for some reason.
Yeah, and it does depend on the aesthetic of the room too. I mean, I've realized that is huge. I used to work out down in the shop, and that was just like it's cold, which I actually wish my current space was a little colder, because my eyes are...
think it is heat training.
Yeah. My eyes are bone dry by the time I finish a ride because I have a fan blown straight on me and stuff like that. And, I'll use the clear Gooders, but I can't see my screen because I don't wear contacts. So it's like I'm just riding in bliss, I guess. Now, we had talked about training parties in the past. Why have those never worked? Is it just because of schedules?
I think so.
Really?
I think that's number one.
I was finding it interesting because you guys who are okay with setting up and tearing down, my problem with the training party would be like, I'm going to go all the way over to somebody's house just for an hour ride and set up and tear down and do
Might as well cross-country ski.
Yeah.
Shit, seriously.
That was productive. Yeah. So I just figured that's weird. And even meetups on different training platforms. I think we did those during COVID, and then we just stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I have such like a specific routine too. Like getting out of that routine, like nailing down a place to like all meet us up. It's just kind of like, it's tough. I'm also not a big class person.
No,
like going to a class, doing all that stuff is.
I would like to do the tailwinds. Those are good classes, but this is the third weekend and I haven't gone.
Yeah, so it's like I'm on my own journey for for lack of a better phrase there.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
No, we had the first team that I was on, Team Two Wheel, it was in '87. We would meet up in the winter. And, we went to a bike shop. It was Two-Wheel Transit at the time, and the team met down there. And that was kind of cool because the whole team was there. But then
with wind
you
trainers.
could see exactly.
So loud. So
turbo
loud.
trainers. Yeah. And then that kind of faded. You could see as the days go by, less and less people showed up. You know what I mean? And then my boss, probably 15 years ago, he had this really nice shop. Did you ever go do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because it's just down the street from you.
For a whole winter.
Yeah, we did it. But you remember how packed it was? And then it just started, pretty soon it's like, anybody coming? He had his TV set up, and I would bring a videotape, and we'd watch it. Oh, and then it just got to the point when no one just showed up.
I got the hint one year when I showed up, and I think CP showed up, and he was leaving to go to dinner with his wife. And he's like, no, you guys are fine. You can work out. And I looked at Chris and I went, we're never doing this again, are we? No. Hint taken. He didn't want us to come anymore. So.
No, he would not. It was a very generous person.
Yeah.
If you would just say, Frank, it's okay. Yeah, you bet. I'll just pull the cars out. Yeah. But his wife was probably like, no, why do we have to sacrifice every Wednesday for these knuckleheads?
Yeah.
Then it smells like an armpit in there.
And those were the days when we wouldn't really have a workout. You would just watch a video and ride. And somebody's going super hard next to you, and you're like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, everybody did their own thing. We did, I would do like some intervals every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then you could hear somebody else.
Yeah, you're like, I got to keep up with them. Yeah. The loudest damn things in the world, those trainers were. I have tinnitus. How we all don't have tinnitus is a miracle. Switching gears, has anybody found a way to watch bike racing now that GACN is gone? Has anybody found anything? I've done some research today. It's kind of a loaded question.
Well, I did sign up for Max.
Yeah.
And I wanted to wait, but I thought, I don't know. Because Curb Your Enthusiasm's on there, and I had to catch it's one of my favorites. And also the Larry Sanders Show I can catch up on. I've seen it several times, but just to watch it again.
Max, if I'm not mistaken, is like $15 a month.
I just paid for years.
For a year.
It's cheaper that way.
Yeah.
But I don't understand what is it, B&R Sports. Is that part of the package? It says another $9, but I couldn't find a place.
I think for right now, what I've done with my research is B&R is a free thing right now, but in February it will be an add-on.
Oh, of course it will.
Yeah.
So that's what we were talking about. Like,
oh yeah,
back when GCN and we had this chat, and I said, what's going to happen? You're going to have to buy a package just to, and
yeah.
And that's exactly what it is.
So Tour Down Under is, underway, and I'm missing watching bike racing. So this is what I started. You did?
Yeah.
It was
live.
What platform?
YouTube.
Okay.
No, it's just road
Just
sounds.
video.
Yeah,
Really?
You can hear them grunt, shift, and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Well, here we are. How long until Het Nieuwsblad?
That is about a month,
4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's
Jesus Christ, that's crazy.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
And
month
so
and a week.
I did some digging around with my wife and I quote unquote cut the cable, and I'm on YouTube TV now, which I convinced my wife to do, and now that she knows the clicks to get into it, she hasn't noticed a difference at all.
It's just another cable package, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's saving us $80 a month.
Wow.
To start.
That's a lot.
Just to start.
Yeah.
And
that means more beer.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And I through that we had Max through our TV provider, but now I have it also through YouTube. And so we have it there, and I did see the BR Sports add-on, and I started looking around for it. But right now, it's primarily American sports. It's basketball, shit like that.
NBA stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And I've yet to try it with a VPN. I wonder if that would do some switching, maybe. But I think what happens is with a lot of these providers, it knows where you live before you even log on. So it's only going to give you that specific
I think it's based off your billing address.
Yeah, exactly. And Flow Bikes has the Tour Down Under, as well as a lot of others. It's yearly, $150 a year. Or it is $30, $29.99 a month for Flow Bikes.
I almost went that way, but they don't have their schedule up yet.
No.
So Flow Bikes may have, the spring, because we'll miss Het Nieuwsblad.
Yeah.
Because that's in February, and it doesn't start on Max. So
I pulled the trigger today.
You bought Flow Bikes.
I bought Flow Bikes for a year.
That's what I should have done.
And I have Max too. I'm going to end up spending a lot more in the long run. I mean, if you figure $30 a month for Flow Bike, or and then plus $15 a month for Max, you're already way over what GCN was.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And so we're now at the point. I'm now at the point. Thank you everybody for your purchases from the Packfiller store, because some of the proceeds from that I have purchased the Flow Bikes thing. They are very adamant they will not let you share it. So
damn it.
But bike races will be on here in the studio.
So Flow Bikes doesn't have, and it'll be interesting the way it is. Peacock carries all ASO
races.
So you have to have Peacock.
Yeah.
So that means Paris-Roubaix, Liège, Bastogne-Liège, Flèche-Wallonne. And let's see here. Of course, the Tour and Vuelta.
And I don't think, because I cut Xfinity, I think I've lost Peacock too.
Yes, you have to.
So now I've got to subscribe to Peacock too.
Oh.
So that's a third account to purchase.
I will say, now that I'm thinking about the whole schedule of it, though, I guess you always watch it. You watch it a lot earlier than I do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not. I'll just watch the replay.
But you have to have. Or are you just talking on YouTube?
I'm talking like Flow Bikes, right? So like, let's say two people are logged into the same account.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't you? It's like one person technically watch it like earlier.
Only
in the day.
under the same home Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
For Flow Bikes.
Yeah.
They pick out the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow. Those scummy little shits.
Right? I mean, at this point in time, it's like, come on, let me share. YouTube TV, my YouTube TV account, I can share with 5 different people. Jackson is on it. Yeah. My mother is on it. My mother-in-law, I'm going to show her how to use it. She's going to cut the cable and just use it for me. So 5 people have not only basic cable, but they also have Max.
Yeah.
Off of my account. Why don't these companies just...
So your Max comes from your YouTube TV?
It comes from YouTube
Free,
TV now.
Or did you have to pay?
It's
pay
$15
for it?
a month.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you can share your Max.
Yeah, I can share it with Jackson.
But I can't share my Max because I'm going through Apple TV.
Yeah.
Is my...
Yeah. Do you guys have cable at home?
No.
Oh. You want it? you could stop subscribing.
You get local channels?
Yeah.
Really?
It's like KXLY.
You could be one of my 5, man.
maybe. Yeah.
Drop Max and just
I've
use
already
mine.
paid for the dang
Up
thing.
on it.
Son of a... See, I should have waited. I knew I should have waited. But I'm curious about Flow Bikes. If you use your VPN... If you use your VPN in Canada, because it's a Canadian company, you might be able to skirt the ASO and Peacock.
That's what I'm hoping. Now, I got to figure out a way to get my Apple TVs onto the VPN. Because right now, or you just shoot it from your iPad or your...
Yeah, that's the only way, unfortunately, with Apple TVs. You can't do a VPN on those specific devices for some reason.
You can on your router, on your home router.
You can. Yeah. But, I mean, it's frustrating because we're back to...
scrambling.
Exactly. We're back to scrambling. We're back to me talking about where the hell can I find the Premier League? Like dumb shit like this. Like I feel like I feel like in 20 years or something like that, we will all go back and think, damn, we had something for 2 years where it was all there. And it's such a bummer because what GCN did was so, like, for lack of a better term, revolutionary in this version, or in this little teeny niche part of the world, and it just sucks now that we have to scramble and search every single weekend now.
And that GCN wouldn't have researched the fact that I know there are a large amount of subscribers like myself who would have paid double.
That's what I've talked about with my wife a lot too. I would have paid, like you said, double.
I am
more.
paying double now.
Yeah. I would have 100% paid that because it's like you guys are giving me so much, plus the films on top of that I know you guys, like you two specifically, really enjoyed those. Yeah,
absolutely.
And so it's like the fact that like it's all went away because they were kind of undercutting themselves a little bit is a bummer.
I really what happened is in order to get their production going, they were purchased by Discovery. They had, in order to do that, so the TV rights, they sold themselves to the devil to get this going.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you know what Lennon said, man, look to, those who benefit, Well, that's the thing. It's like all of a sudden, what Discovery's like, wait, here's people getting.
We want to have it on our
we don't
app.
have total control. Yeah. And then we can make more money because of those stupid. I just saw a thing on the news. Netflix, when they cut back your sharing, long run, they thought
made
it was
a ton of money off of it.
After they cut that back, people have been dropping them because there's so many different. It really kind of bit them in the butt.
Yeah,
and I think that the same mentality was with Discovery and Warner Brothers, who's part of Max. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Is they're like, well, we can get them to buy and support this Max program with BR, and then they're saps, and they'll spend another $10 a month.
Yeah,
because they're idiots that like cycling.
Hi, I'm that idiot.
So
I'm that idiot. I am now at the point now where I'm just like going, okay, if it's a yearly subscription, I will bite the bullet and just like Flow Bikes today. I was just like, okay, $150. I guess I'll just take apples for lunch for about a month, or I won't buy coffee when I go anywhere. I'll just drink coffee from home, or I'll just wear the same pair of socks.
Damn.
And I just so I bite the bullet and I do it. So I'm like, okay, it's a full year. I'll do it. I'll do it for a full year. I'll deal with the Little Caesars commercials that Flow Bikes does. God, I hope they're not like that anymore. I haven't watched Flow Bikes in over a year. Since GCN came out, I dropped Flow Bikes like a hot potato just because their coverage was weird and the viewing format was weird. And I'm not I haven't built the better mousetrap. So yes, I'm bashing Flow Bikes, but I'm bashing Flow Bikes just as a dude who wants to watch bike racing. And when you're watching the last 200K and the screen gets half the size so you can see a commercial for Mercedes-Benz on one side, that pisses me off. I'm in my living room yelling, and my wife's going, what are you doing? It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's the final stage of the Tour Down Under, honey. Tour Down Under! So, I don't know. And I hope we don't have to go back to just reading about it or catching highlights. I love, as psychotic as it is, I love having the whole stage and being able to I'll fast forward through sections, but I love the commentary I love hearing the stories from some of the great, the Sean Kellys, the Robbie McEwens, the Dan Lloyds, the Matt Stevens. They all do such a good job. That's a part of the process. I mean, Jesus Christ, football games are 3 fucking hours anyway. And, a lot of the times, if I hear Chris Collinsworth one more time, I'm going to scream. The guy's about as fun as watching paint dry.
But there's something just so patriotic about watching a bunch of men beat the shit out of each other. It just makes you feel so good. I love
it. You get a CTE. You get a CTE. Yeah. Everybody gets brain damage. And how they're all upset over Taylor Swift, too. It's just, oh my God.
I love it.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't mind it at all. I mean, a lot of people are watching. I wish Taylor Swift date a bike racer. I wish she'd hook up with what bike racers are single. I don't even know anymore.
I don't
know.
But, seriously, what woman really? Well, we have one. Each of us have somebody who hooked up with a bike racer, but not a pro bike racer.
Yeah.
It's like they're never home.
Yeah,
Well,
Taylor's not either.
Yeah.
Neither is Travis Kelce.
Yeah. And so they're all mad. People are all mad about that, and I'm like going,
who gives a shit?
She's doing great things for football, and how dare she, distract us from the sport? She's watching her boyfriend play football. Shut the fuck up.
She's not asking the cameras to be on her.
Yeah.
She's
just being there.
Yeah.
All those distractions when there's like a 30-second delay between each play.
Sheryl Crow dated Lance Armstrong. There you go. Yeah. For Cheryl or
for Cheryl?
For Cheryl, you feel for Cheryl?
Yeah,
okay.
That's a bad call.
Well, that was back in the days when he was the cream of the crop. So it was a pretty big deal.
Still who he is.
No, he's there we go. So let's check some today's headlines. I haven't played the news bumper for a while because I'm still waiting on my new news bumper. Brought to us by our friends at Cycle Systems Online. Become the mechanic of your dreams, all in the comfort of your own home with self-paced classes with the best in the business. Use the link at Packfiller to peruse some of the amazing skill sets you could be mastering immediately. Great content, great value, especially when you consider the cost of maintenance and repairs. So it's a really cool platform that they got over there at Cycle Systems Online. Well, I'm going to ask you guys about the future of bike racing. Heaven forbid, right? We haven't touched base on this at all in this show over the last, 1999.
24?
Yeah, 24 years. 25 years. New on the North American racing scene for 2024, this is a story I shelved last week, is a one-day race worthy of comparisons to European Spring Classics with big climbs, big, quote, character, end quote, and a big payday. The Growler will roar in Windsor, California on April 13th. This is prepared text, obviously. I would never say that sentence. With a professional field joining amateur rides on the hunt to claim chunks of a $20,000 cash purse. Growlers won a 7-ride options at Levi's Grand Fondo.
As in the jeans.
No, Levi Leipheimer.
Oh, gotcha.
Which was founded by former World Tour pro Levi Leipheimer in 2009. It's the first time in the 4-year history the longest route, 139 miles of, quote, single track for road bikes, end quote. It's because the roads there are shitty. Mm-hmm. They're all potholy, so they call it single track for road bikes. 13,500 feet of climbing. Pros and amateurs compete together for $20,000 in cash prizes. Split evenly among the top 5 men and women. And in Sonoma County in Northern California. This ties into what I want to talk about for our topic tonight, the future of cycling. With gravel and mountain bike racing doing very well. Can we agree in this country? Those two divisions
I'd say gravel
are doing well.
more than mountain bike.
Yeah, absolutely. But mountain bike, it reached its pinnacle and then it fell off, but now it's still doing pretty damn well, especially with the youth movement. We can probably agree that there are several factors that are helping out. The controlled courses with minimal traffic. Number 2, a family-friendly environment that has a place for everyone, right? We can probably say that. All are welcome kind of a concept perspective that has average Joes racing against in essence racing against the pros, or at least on the same course, and they get swag and entertainment because people want to go away with some stuff. So what are your thoughts on this style of race, and does it fit the bill of a quote real bike race, end quote?
I mean, anything where you pin a number on and look at the other person and say, I'm going to beat you is technically a bike race, you know? So I guess, yeah. Like, we've all here raced a Grand Fondo before, and race being the operative word there. So, yeah, I would say so. Like I said, anything that you want to beat another person at is a race.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Paul, I know this is going to be a hot button for you.
To me, I don't want to poo-poo it because, you know, if it gets people into cycling, that's fine. And if this is the way this country needs to go to get people into it, that's fine. But it is not something I'm interested in.
Really? So if
the only thing is that location, great wine country. I'd go there. But yeah, I just don't, you know, I'd have to see the course. But for me to travel all the way down to Central California.
But what I'm also saying is, what if this brings something, it brings events to regional types of events. For example, here in Spokane, upcoming, we have an event called the Climb for the Cure. A mostly off-road 30-mile ascent of Mount Spokane with a $10,000 purse. This is happening this year. It is kind of gravelly, but it's also paved roads. It's the flyer says on any bike can do it. This is a mass start. This is everybody to their own. It's not categorical based. And I'm wondering if this is where the road racing of road racing is going to end up primarily in this country, because I'm sorry, USAC has blown it. I mean, with our insurance and with everything like that, and the amount of officials you need and all that type of stuff, we're not going to get classic road races unless they're great people in the central state of area of Washington and farmlands where we can do rolling enclosures, but these types of things. But I don't know if road racing is going to find a way back unless it's this type of a platform.
You know, I will say that I think that ever since COVID COVID, let's call a spade, it's never really going to go away. Like, we all know that. That goes without saying.
Of COVID.
Yeah, that goes without saying at this point. But I think that ever since the peak of it all has kind of dropped off a little bit, I think that that promoters' efforts in wanting to put out a road race specifically has gone up. I mean, where I think that...
You think it's making a comeback?
I do a little bit. Yeah, I do. I mean, when we went to Missoula, I didn't know that things like that were here, and I just think that, like, sometimes with a little bit of local research, like, you can find a lot of really good stuff. But I really love to see things like Tour de Bloom going on about, like, how they added a stage for the Pro 1-2s, but then, like, for the other ones, they're doing, like, just little steps like that I think are really encouraging. But I do agree with you. I think that the fact that, I mean, how much do we have to all pay for a USAC license every year? What, over $100, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, shit, I haven't renewed mine.
Yeah.
I got to do that.
I haven't either. But the fact that we have to do that and then a state one as well, I think that it's just nickel and diming all of the road racers into not really wanting to go out there and race for it. And if this is what the future of the quote-unquote road race looks like, then I think that the inclusive nature of it is what we're going to see a lot more of. I think that when we see categories, people don't like to be categorized necessarily.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be like, oh, I can go up to a start and just start and go however slow I want to. And doesn't matter if I'm holding people up on a closed course, you know? Like, climbing up some mountain, you're not going to get pulled out of the race. I think that's the inclusion part that is kind of poo-pooed on a little bit.
And I think that's what we're running into is there are a lot of people who don't want to base themselves on that learning curve, and they want to be able to start a race and finish a race. You know, it's almost like if events like this, if you could do some sort of at least staging, so you're starting with your specific categories, and numbers are colored so you can tell who's in your category and you can proceed accordingly. Maybe that could save it. It does remove the tactical element of it, though, that Paul, you and I grew up with. Starting just your group, lead car, follow car. That's your race. That's your bubble. That's your world.
I will say, sorry to continue on it, but I feel like that the mention of COVID really spurred this thought on here. I feel like ever since that all went down, I think that the element of keeping the, quote unquote tradition of the sport, keeping specific events continuously throughout each year has gone away, because it's become less of a yearly tradition and more of a shit. If we don't get people on the start line, we will go under.
Yeah.
So it's just it kind of shifted. I think that was kind of the trend coming around a little bit, but I think it's just interesting to see how it went from it's just another year, it's going to be back no matter what. Now it's, if we don't do this, doors are closing. It's become more about money in a lot of ways.
And I think there are a lot of promoters out there, and this design has shifted, where promoters want to make money, as opposed to USA Cycling clubs who did it because they had to put on a race, and they got some corporate sponsors who provided some cash for purse, for prize money, and then people primarily did it on a volunteer basis. People want to make money putting on a bike race. It's a lot of freaking work to put on a bike race. So and I do have to say that I don't mind the gravel race format where it's everybody go. I don't mind that type of stuff. I do, however, speaking from somebody who's physically challenged in this area, I hate the fact that everything's like 30,000 feet of climbing, 18,000 feet of climbing in the first 10 miles. It's all climbing. Yeah. I understand that's an integral part of the sport, but it's not the whole part of the sport. You don't have to just throw people up mountains to make a bike race. It takes the tactical element out of it too. That's frustrating. I mean, if road racing shifts to this platform, I'm screwed. Because I'm not going to climb Mount Spokane that fast.
It becomes, if you want to be competitive, in my opinion, like those set up, even the local one, it is, even if I want, I mean, it's for a good cause and everything, obviously, isn't it? Yeah. So
absolutely. It's a full fundraiser for cancer research.
So I would just be better off if me as a non-climber say, hey, just take this. There's no reason for me to go up Mount Spokane. I mean, there's no incentive to do that. I mean, even training, it's a pull teeth for me. It's not my genre. It's not my thing that I like to do. And like you said, there's no tactical. It's you set a tempo. It's like running, basically.
Yeah.
You set a tempo. You just don't want to go on the red. There might be a point where you push it to that, but you can't, that's the tactic.
Yeah.
And if I don't weigh, 125 pounds,
you're screwed.
I'm not going to be able to do that, so, and even Leipheimer's deal, when you start throwing them, why would I travel all the way down there? I don't care if it's mass start or anything, but when you got that much elevation, leave it to those people who can do that. Yeah. Kudos.
It's going to be a lot, like
save
Pete Stettin is going. A lot of the privateer guys are going to be there, and girls, and women are going to be there. Yeah. So
yeah, but that's that kind of that's not attractive to me, and I think I'm not the only one in this where the United States are like, well, I'm not going to go because there's 13,000 feet of climbing and 100 miles. I'm not. I think there's more people out there. It's like, why would I go do that?
Yeah.
Other than to say I did it. That's the only thing. And that's not a bike race.
It's the challenge.
Yeah. And I'm not a challenge, not for bicycles. There's other challenges in my life that I do like to accomplish.
So I have a question for you guys backing off of this. This kind of goes in with our topic here. But so I find that bicycle racing tactics is something that almost doesn't get talked about enough anymore. I feel like and this is none of anybody's fault. It's just like when you're introduced to the sport, nobody tells you that it's like you can be the strongest one out there. It doesn't matter. And that's still a learning curve to me. But do you feel like a lot
of... And that's, by the way, sorry, please hold that thought, because that's not just road racing.
It's all
tactics are employed in mountain and in gravel. I mean, you have to employ mountain bike tactics. I mean, my God, yeah. I mean, I can do power climbs faster than a lot of guys, but if they're technically more savvy than me, even though I'm in better shape, they're going to dust my ass.
Right.
So anyway,
and I guess I should have prefaced this with like road racing tactics, because that's where I'm headed.
Racecraft.
Yeah, race. Thank you. That's I love that.
I like
racecraft.
That too.
Yeah. Do you feel like because of a lot of these mass start races, we're seeing the death of like modern race tactics in local races?
I think that's a very good point. I think the thing is it takes. I think I see a lot of people in road racing when I started that didn't. They were just strong, so they went to category 2. They didn't have much racecraft. They were just unbelievably strong and talented. And then they get in the 2s and 1 fields or in the Pro 1-2s, and they're devastated. Strong. They're devastated because it's like, I can't keep up with these guys.
Right.
And that Jeff from NorCal Cycling, that's his his YouTube is all about tactics, and there's times where and a lot of that is experience. And if you're not in for the long haul and just for glory, and you guys had when I was gone to a basketball game, you're talking about intrinsic and extrinsic type, and that if you're just doing it for the glory, this sport I don't think is going to be that cuts out a lot of people. You go in there to think that you're going to be praised and you're so awesome. You're going to get your teeth kicked in, and even the great ones. I mean, they only win like 1-2% of the time.
Yeah.
So racecraft is taken away when you do these challenges, as you put them.
Yeah,
I think.
And that tactical element of it is such a and we're in a culture, I think globally, where people don't want necessarily to take their time and work their way up.
Right.
We all want instant gratification. Probably people here in North America more than in many other cultures. And it becomes detrimental to something where you have to learn. Even, I keep thinking of, my father talks religiously about the game of golf and how golf, you are a lifelong learner within the sport of golf. But there's a handicapping system in golf.
Yeah,
I can play along with you because your handicap's different than mine. And I get gifted. I don't know that. I don't understand the structure of golf handicap, but from what I understand is what I don't understand, and what I kind of have a clue is that I can compete with you based upon a golf handicap. Am I close?
Yeah, it's basically taking your average if you figure out your average of different courses.
That's like saying,
trying to keep it simple, but then if you shoot like standard course is 70 to 90. Yeah. Par 72 and 70. Usually it's 72.
Yeah.
And you technically are 90 strokes to that 72, then they figure out to be competitive.
So I can beat you by shooting worse.
If you shot better
than my handicap.
Then that 90, that's your average, let's say. And I'm trying to make it just a little more complicated.
No,
But if you had a good day and you shot 85, and let's say your dad's handicap, he shoots like 85 and he shot an 87, now you're competitive, right?
Yeah.
So he's taking that.
So if you and I both started a time trial and I had a handicap of 2 minutes and I beat you, you beat me by a minute 30, in essence, I still beat you.
That change, but that eventually changes your handicap. You can't. You don't get to stick at that, so it's like.
But I did it that one time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the whole idea of that is so that people of different skill can go against each other,
Which cycling does not possess.
No.
Well, unless you speak of categories.
But I think it does. I think it does in the other sports, in disciplines. I think time trialing, no, but I think running, there's a lot of that. People are age group oriented.
Sure.
Huge. Road cycling is not set up for any of that. It is something you earn your stripes, and if you die on your sword, if you're going to live by your sword, if you're not going to learn race tactics or how to conserve energy or get your information before. Oh, I didn't know, like Vanderpool in the Olympics when he fell off that. I didn't know there was a ramp. I'm like, you're that much of a pro, and everybody else seemed to know. How did you not know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no wiggle room.
I did not know that kids were going to be knocking on my door at night.
That's right.
I have buried them.
I should have spit on them.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess that was my point, is that's where road cycling, I think there's a lot of people who, that's a turnoff.
Is there a world where we can live in where road racing is mass start like that and crit racing is the only thing we have left when it comes to categorization?
No.
I don't want to be doom and gloom, but is that what we're staring down the barrel of?
I don't think so. I think it will have something. I think that there's always going to be a cream of the crop, for lack of a better term there. But I think that there's always going to be a competitive group of people that want to compete with one another, and I think that these mass start races don't provide that necessarily in a lot of cases. Here I am, I haven't even gone up to a Cat 3 race, but do I want to race with a Cat 5? Not necessarily. It's just kind of what the sport has taught us to feel and to want, and I think that as bike racers, with all the experience, I don't think that will ever go away.
And it keeps bringing me to this term of elitism that people have thrust onto roadies primarily. I don't want to call it elitism. I want to call it almost earned arrogance.
I was gonna say that's a shit we earn. We don't just get that. We gotta beat people or do shit to get what we get.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes 2 years to move up a category. Sometimes it's 1 year. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
You earn your stripes.
And I'm not saying it's kind of like the concept of debt forgiveness in our country right now, where people are upset because some people are getting their student loans paid off. Road cycling's kind of the same way. When I grew up in the 80s and 90s racing my bike, people busted my balls. There were guys constantly giving me shit about all kinds of stuff. Making fun of me for my, my helmet or something like that. Nowadays, and nowadays they're kind of clearing the slate for that. It's not as common anymore. But I think you need to have your balls busted a little bit, and I'm not saying that I'm going to go up to, somebody and start mansplaining to them on a bike ride, but I also think that it's okay to have to make your way up and do these types of things and get shelled in a criterium and have a USAC ref waving you off the course because you're about to get lapped. It sucks ass, but the next day or the next week when you come home, you're going to be more apt to go, well, I got to work on my speed because I got my ass kicked.
Yeah, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Where did it? I mean, that's the beauty of our sport.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll never master this, ever. Conditions are too many variables. Winds, conditions, sleep, food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all a balance, and that's what makes it, to me, interesting and challenging.
And it doesn't make you any less of a person dependent on your failures. If you get lapped, that doesn't, Cat 2s, Cat 1s get lapped all the time, and they get pulled off the course. But next week they could be winning a race. It doesn't make you any less of a person. It just means that was the day. That's a hard thing to learn about that. That's just happens. That can happen to you any single race you enter. It's not because you're not strong. It's just because you made the wrong move. You weren't in the right spot. The winds hit you in a weird direction. You just didn't feel good. I think that's important to remember.
Yeah.
Funny you brought that up, and I'm bringing up NorCal Cycling, and there's a series of crits.
He's a good YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Oh, I'm moving around. But anyway.
But there's a series of crits in Chicago. And everybody's there. I mean, there's some German criterium riders and stuff like that. And the last one that he did this last week is a 20-minute deal. And he was showing how he just had one little mistake. This course was so technical that I think was 60% of the field dropped out. And he was able to get 25th or 26th, trying to get, because there's omnium points of all these crits. And it's you have no idea what it takes to get there. And even as crafty as he is, there's times where you get a little tired or let go, and you're like, oh crap, I screwed up.
Yeah.
Now you're fighting like this one corner. He's doing 1,000 watts out of the front just to get out of that corner in the middle of the pack. But he says, the guys in the lead are not doing that.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
300, 400.
Yeah, and you're fighting. Oh, you've got 100 and some guys fighting just to get to that point. And any little fraction mistake that you make pushes you back 5-10 people. And you scramble and you get past those people and a little bit more. And you have to hang on to that. And it's not always pushing and shoving. It's a mental part.
Yeah.
And that is, to me, a big thing like we've been talking about. You have to be willing to get your butt kicked and learn. And it's unique. It's a unique sport.
I keep thinking, I wish Sam was here because I love, when we were in Montana and he was just like going, oh my God, we got our asses handed to us. And he was pissed at the time, but now he's kind of laughing about it, like going, I want to go back and get my ass kicked again, and what a weird group of people we are.
Yeah.
That this is something that you're like, yeah, I lost. I paid $500 to get ass handed, to just totally slapped. That was awesome. Yeah. I'll do it again, or something like not $500. That's an Ironman entry fee.
Well, I mean, I'm going to go back to that last crit. I'm thinking there's guys that quit. He said at one point, I wasn't going to get to the front.
Yeah.
And then, most people are like, well, why am I doing this?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you learn it's not just winning, but you learn and you're losing too. It's like, listen, I screwed up doing this on this corner, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, you're finding new ways and you bank all that information. And that's quitting is like the worst thing you can do, in my opinion, in road cycling.
Yeah.
Whether it's a crit or a road race. You learn zero. I mean, if it's a mechanical is one thing, you can't press on. But just because, well, I'm not going to win, you can't do that. Yeah, and that's why this group keeps hanging around and getting her teeth kicked in.
Yeah, yeah. What a bunch of dumbasses. We pay a fortune to do it.
I know it. It's fun.
Right. Fortune to do it. So we didn't say bike racing, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting, and I've been saying this since kind of even before COVID, when you saw a decline in events in this country, primarily road. It's an interesting process to see how the evolution is going to happen. When mountain biking came to its rise, what happened with that was a great feed for road cycling because mountain bikers all started training on the road, and then they also started racing on the road. Mm-hmm. We have guys like John Tomac who came over into the sport. We, hundreds of riders, who came over into the sport. Cyclocross has done that now especially for the pro peloton. Cyclocross isn't going anywhere. I think it's going to constantly do fine for
not in this country.
Really?
It's hurting. And even in Europe, it's
really?
Not that, yeah.
Really?
I will say, if as a cycling fan that likes to have fun, I will say, this reminds me, because we're talking about cyclocross, but a guy and his brother named Average Rob, just look up the YouTube channel, Average Rob.
Okay.
And he made a cyclocross race. They wanted to enter the elite cyclocross race without ever having ridden a pedal stroke. And then they had to figure out a way how to make everything work for them. They weren't able to race the elite category, but they did something else that was really fun. I highly suggest it. It's fun, and it's
Average Rob.
Yeah,
okay.
It's just two kind of average guys just taking it on. It's really it's fun. So yeah.
Wow. Okay.
They have Matthew Vanderpool on there quite often. So,
really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that one up. That actually sounds awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll bring it up that if you look at cyclocross when it was on TV. There was plenty of courses in, this is like even 5-10 years ago, plenty of races that were in the Netherlands and Italy. They were doing in France. They're all in Belgium because that's where it is. I mean, there was one race so far this year in the Netherlands outside of their national championships. Wow. There's one in Italy, that's snow one.
Yeah.
But I think there's one in France. But outside of that, it's all Belgium, and that's in Belgium. That's what they do.
Yeah,
and they get drunk and they watch, and it's a party every Sunday.
And then Matthew spits on them.
Yeah, when they boo and throw beer on them.
Yeah, Jesus. Okay. Well, I thought we'd test ride a few new segments this week. New year, new stuff we want to add to the show, and these Waples guys are constantly getting the spotlight, and that's just bullshit because one's a bitch, the other one's a hipster. You're gonna laugh at that, I hope. Sam will laugh at that. David, I don't know. He's still mad about the Elf on the Shelf comments.
So
I don't think he's mad. I don't know if he's mad, but I couldn't hear him. So I thought we'd try out a couple with the folks we have here tonight, and these I've been talking to you guys via text and a little bit over the last couple of weeks about things that I thought would be kind of fun and what areas specifically meet our own expertise as we go throughout the show. Sam's a bike fitter, so we talk about bike fit. David's a doctor, so we talk about what drugs he can get us.
That's the only reason.
Yeah,
and
so we're gonna start with Jackson for no particular reason, but I thought you're obviously the youngest of all of us here, and you've always been a guy who's kind of style focused and things like that.
Sure.
You got a teddy bear on your shirt with a broken heart on it, and that really cool kind of. What is that shirt made out of?
It's an overshirt. I don't know. It's got like cool. a raw edge to it though, and I like it because it has like the
I'll see it.
Fringe.
It's got the fringe on it. I think it's fun.
Yeah. Kind of like
different.
a prayer shawl from Fiddler on the Roof.
I think it looks cool. Yeah.
That was
Tradition.
your father speaking.
Yeah.
Tradition. Yeah, exactly. So we were going to call it Style Points, and your segment. And I don't have any music for you, but I'm going to get music for you guys. So what would you say your approach to this is going to be? I kind of asked you where you were going to go with it. So if somebody asked you what Style Points all about, what would you say?
So I think that what's the on the what's the word for like meaning on the surface, kind of
the veneer?
Yeah, veneer.
Yeah.
The image of cycling. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
We're not that cool.
No.
What?
I know.
I'm genuinely. We're not.
No.
I know. Right.
See,
right.
I look at like a Euro Pro, and they're just freaking cool.
But I think.
But the average Joe probably thinks we look like lycra-clad dipshits.
Well, yeah. I also think that the sport of cycling inherently is so focused on the sport itself that in a lot of cases, I think recently we have only started to understand the flair of each individual rider.
Yeah.
And I don't think we get to see that in their own style choices ever really. And so I think that's what I think is kind of the whole thing behind it, is that like this sport can be cool. It's just we got to put a little bit of effort in.
Oh.
So something that I have some notes here, like talking about something that the Williams brothers, funnily enough, that's a ball of wax of news right now.
Yeah.
But something that they mentioned one time in one of their Rafa videos was that they like to show up to races looking like they're going to win. Showing the part. And I think that's something that's really cool that we don't ever see. What we do see, though, in America specifically, is if you ever really watch like the NBA or the NFL, they have people are always taking pictures of them when they walk in, and they're wearing these like super cool shoes, these like interesting outfits that are just kind of
some
fun.
are in like multiple $1,000 suits when they walk.
100%, or multiple $1,000 sneakers.
Yeah.
It's something that I think that our sport could adopt a little bit.
Yeah.
And
if I need to see that Julian Alaphilippe unveiling of the kit video one more time, I'm going to smash my phone.
But like what I'm so tired of seeing is they're all coming in the same Cool Max ugly ass polo every single week with the same pair of running shoes as the other guy. I want us to start getting shoe sponsors. Like, why can't Remco Evenepoel be sponsored by Nike and show up in a pair of Jordans? You know what I mean? Like, I think that'd be so cool.
You know what? I think EF first did that. Education first did. They had a New Balance sponsor for when they were on the podium and when they were coming to and from gigs.
See, that's really funny because my next point I have here is podium wear.
Yeah.
And kind of like a do's and don'ts almost. I think I'm not trying to call out Sam and David here, but don't wear your damn helmets on the podium. Don't do that. And my
Amen, brother.
Maybe they're klutzy and they're afraid that they'll trip getting up on the podium.
Right.
God, so many people do it. When I'm announcing a race, I just want to go, and in first place, take your stupid helmet off. It's Jim Ryerson. You idiot, you look so stupid.
Because I think that, like, I guess
and that's judgmental and it's elitist and fuck it.
Well, this is
I'm
all
going with it.
This is all cosmetics. That's the word I was looking for. Cosmetic. Yeah. This is all cosmetic. It's all like, it's personal preference, you know. So I don't take this too seriously. But like, I always, whenever I'm on a podium, I don't wear the kit. You know, I wear a shirt with a sponsor on it, the hat with the sponsor on it. That's something that I like to do. It's your own personal preference. Just don't wear the helmet. But a thing I also don't like is wearing a cycling jersey with just a regular, like, average Joe shorts. Don't wear your cargo shorts with your fucking jersey. It looks ugly.
Jackson said fuck.
It makes me I hate that. And then my last one is cycling shorts I think are changing colors, which I kind of enjoy. But okay. I think it depends on the color that you choose.
White, is that okay?
No.
Pat, is it all right?
No way.
No.
I've been circumcised.
What I genuinely have here is word for word, I'm reading what I wrote down earlier. Never white, red, or those light colors. Black colors are black. I'm fine with brown.
You were okay with that?
I like brown. Yeah, I like brown. I like dark greens. I like navies, purples, those type of things. The lighter you get, this is a sport where you already see a person's physique every single time that they enter the light. But I don't want to see all of your physique.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Watch the Beer Mile video if you're curious about that.
Exactly. So I guess to end my little segment here, it's not always like you have to do all this stuff. Like, if you want to keep dressing the way you keep dressing and you feel great about it, do that. I'm going to keep dressing the way I dress. But I like things. If you want to like the same things I like the same things I like. Because we are kind of dorky. All of us are.
Somewhere, somebody's going to be accusing you of judging and of picking on people because they wear baggy shorts at a bike race.
And that's fine. Because I am.
Never mind. Okay, you're taking your stand, and I appreciate that. Because it's okay to bust somebody's chops a little bit. Yeah. And if you and I don't agree, that's fine.
Judge me, please, for God's sake, judge me, because that's what we all do.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, that nice baptism into the segments. And our second one, Paul, you came up with the title of this one, Changing Times. So what is the approach, and what does changing times mean? Changing Times with Paul Main.
Well, I think you and you started before I did, and I started because I'm much older than you. But you know, the influence of cycling, things didn't really change. It was just small little technical, and I mentioned before the show, and I don't know how much was on the YouTube, but you know, like small little things like toe clips and straps.
Yeah,
and you know, headsets what we have now compared to when in bottom bracket. I mean, this, you know, equipment, the way people ride has changed a little bit, fits and all that. It was nothing changed. And then what was the catalyst of this was I watched a Flemish show about Ronde van Vlaanderen from 98 to 03. And nothing really changed until we started hitting towards 99, 98, 99.
Yeah.
And not drastically, but then you started getting deep V, even aluminum rims. I mean, when I came in, anodized tubular wheels, or even MA40s, which are Mavics.
Yeah.
If you had anodized, that was cool because everybody had polished silver rims. And it's like, you wanted it because that was like a show. And then, you know, then it was like spokes. I remember when they started dealing with spokes, we had oval for aerodynamics. Yeah. There's no wind tunnels back then, but that's what they had. Then bladed spokes came out.
I had the bladed spokes.
And then funny bikes came out with bladed spokes, you know, like 18, 16. Everybody's experimenting on those and whether they were snapping left and
You're
right.
You're expecting a wheel to collapse.
Yeah.
I had anodized nipples on a wheel. I remember I started a time trial. And
aluminum,
the rear wheel was all those aluminum nipples, which is just funny saying nipples. But I did a full time trial start, and I felt my wheel basically just dissolve.
Unlace.
You heard this, and I'm looking behind me, and I'm like, why are my brakes rubbing? Well, you ripped out all your spokes.
Yeah. Well, and it's been kind of a slow burn type of thing, but I think it's really accelerated in the last 10 years. I mean, there's a lot of technology, and there's a price to pay, and I want to be a poo-poo on it. I would never, as much as the glory days, and we talk about it kind of tongue-in-cheek at times, the way things were.
Yeah.
I would never want to get back. As much as I love my bike, and I thought it was the best back in the 80s and 90s, I have no interest in going on whatever those rides are where you have to use down tube shifters.
Oh, yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah,
that's behind me. But in the same token, I see some technologies that I won't – everybody knows one of them. But I mean, it's just it's not necessary, and it's, in my eyes, and I can see why they do it, and I know why they do it, but there's a price to pay. When bikes were – if you bought a pro bike – you could get even a Clonago with Campy record, a super record, even $1,200 now. Of course, that would probably be equivalent to $3,000, $4,000.
Yeah.
That same bike equivalent now is $15,000.
Yeah.
Other than now we're in a recession with bike business, so that's now $10,000.
Well, Ajay Dessert did just release an article today saying about their decathlon bikes. No, they're not decathlon. It's from that's
as Van
Dreiser or something like that.
Van Riesel.
Van Riesel, yeah.
It's a $10,000 bike
with Durace
Pro Peloton bike. Anyway, sorry.
But that's part of the thing. It's create a conversation. I want to bring up some things, and just even deep V wheels. I've seen. To the point where the deeper the better. Now we're starting to kind of come back a little bit.
Yeah.
And it really depends on the individual and what kind of riding. You don't want, 60 millimeter deep rims and go do that cancer ride.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you do that? I mean, it's all uphill. I mean, you'd want a light set of wheels.
Not good for me.
Yeah. But, it'd be fine. The equipment is, anyway, I could go on forever. But even frames, if you think about it, back in the day, frames were single straight tube and then double butting, and then it became triple butting, and it started growing to the point where we were getting stiff, and then it was too stiff.
Yeah.
And then, we start kind of tapering back, and it's kind of interesting to watch it and, kind of come in, come out like an accordion. You can see all these moves of lightweight, no aerodynamics now, and now we're starting to lean towards lightweight. And some of that, to me, is driven by the industry. It's this is where we want to put our money and concentrate on. And we got to make it work. And then once we got it working and we can start shaving weight, and, I'm focusing on disc brakes. But,
then we're going back to
then we're going to go back to this is more important and not as much aerodynamics, And I think fashion is a huge – I mean, we used to even – it was the frame that you had and what components, that was the fashion.
Yeah.
Everybody had Campy or Shimano. And basically Campy, when I started, that was the goal.
Oh, yeah.
And if you had a Pinarello, you could get some Scapini.
Scapine, Choach.
Choach, yeah.
I love my Choach.
I mean, all these Italians, everybody strived. Clonago, everybody strived for having Italian bikes.
Yeah.
And then, no one cared about. They all kind of rode the same. They had the same tubing and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of my approach on this. And
okay.
I'll find an item to pick on and the advances of it. But I'm not going to say, man, we had a better one.
Yeah, and what I liked about it is I wrote in this. I went beyond sounding like an old grump that longs for toe clips and hairnets because there is an appreciation of the evolution of the sport, but there's also you can have a critical eye for the changes of things that have happened within the sport and understanding that this was done for fad base or financial gain or, hey, everybody's on this stuff now, let's switch so everybody has to buy a new bike. Or, hey, I finally got all my vinyl collection together. Now they bring out fucking CDs. Or, now CDs are gone and now you got to go back to vinyl. I threw away my vinyl. So it's that kind of a mentality with how we approach things and how we are, the sport is so consumer driven, and we sometimes get manipulated in those ways. So that'll be okay. Cool.
That's how I approach it.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. So these are going to be, we won't have to ask, is my saddle too high and why do I have crabs?
Yeah. All the stuff,
Those were the Waples questions for this week. Why do I have crabs?
Right.
Well, you need to shower.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that brings us to... Is this the one you like? That's one you like, Paul.
That's my favorite.
That takes us to the end of another Packfiller Live. Be sure to subscribe to this show, as well as our YouTube channel. And make sure you don't miss an episode or an opportunity to participate with the live stream. Final K question for the night, and I have 1 minute left to get answers from you guys. What's your next bike?
Mountain bike.
Mountain bike. Paul?
It'll be a new frame, and I'll piece it together.
You're gonna. Is it gonna have disc brakes?
I have no choice. That's what it's gonna end up being.
I was riding my road bike today, and I've decided that my next bike will be a new gravel bike. I think my road bike it's dialed still. It just feels so good. I've got it perfect. So there we go. So for now, everybody, stay warm, keep the rubber side down, and don't be me and gain too much weight. I've only gained 2 pounds this winter.
You should have got sick.
I should get sick.
Jack lost tons of weight.
Yeah.
And I lost tons of weight, so that's the thing.
Yeah.
Let me cough on you.
There we go. We will catch you guys next week.